right, so you guys want to know about the battle for, like, smartphone supremacy, right? We're talking iPhone 16 Pro Max versus the best Android phones out there in 2024.
That's right.
Let's do a deep dive and figure this out, okay? So we can all decide which phone really is the king of the hill,
Yeah.
you know? We've got reviews, we've got comparisons, we've even got spec sheets. I mean, we've got it all to help us decide. And one thing that really surprised me is the iPhone 16 Pro Max might have a bigger screen
Yeah.
than the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra this year.
It's true.
Yeah.
For years, it was always Samsung winning the bigger is better game.
Yeah.
But it looks like Apple is jumping on that train with a 6.9-inch display on the iPhone 16 Pro Max that beats out the S24 Ultra's 6.8 inches.
So bigger screen, but how much bigger are our wallets going to feel, you know, after we buy these phones?
Yeah.
Because they're not cheap.
No, not at all.
Right.
They're in premium pricing territory here.
Yeah.
The iPhone 16 Pro Max starts at $11,199 for 256 GB of storage. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is going to cost you a little bit more, $299 for the same storage, and that's just the base models.
Right.
You know, you want more storage, you're going to pay more?
Of course. Of course. So in this round, Apple's actually a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, a bit more accessible.
Interesting. A win for Apple when it comes to affordability, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a lot of people who buy phones like this, style matters.
Absolutely.
And I got to ask, are these phones just getting too big?
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to even fit in our pockets anymore?
They are really pushing it when it comes to pocketability.
Yeah.
The iPhone 16 Pro Max measures 6.42 by 3.06 by 0.32 inches, and it weighs 8 ounces.
Okay.
The Galaxy S24 Ultra is 6.40 by 3.11 by 0.34 inches.
Got it.
And it's a bit heavier at 8.22 ounces.
Oh, wow.
That extra weight on the S24 Ultra comes from its titanium frame, so that definitely makes it feel really nice and sturdy, you know?
Sure.
But design really is a personal thing.
Of course.
Yeah. The iPhone 16 Pro Max, with its rounded corners and being a bit lighter, is surprisingly comfortable to hold, even with that giant screen. The S24 Ultra has more of that boxy industrial look.
Yeah.
It really comes down to what you like.
Yes. Some people like that sleekness of the iPhone. Others that, you know, bold look of the Samsung.
Exactly.
And speaking of sleek, these displays are supposed to be amazing.
They are.
Right. What makes them so special?
So both phones are using the best OLED tech out there. The iPhone 16 Pro Max uses what Apple calls a Super Retina XDR display, and the S24 Ultra uses a Super AMOLED screen. What that means for you is they both look incredibly crisp, and the colors are just vibrant, and the viewing angles are great.
Nice.
Perfect for watching movies, reading in bed, whatever you do on your phone. Now, the iPhone 16 Pro Max gets a lot brighter than the S24 Ultra. We're talking a peak brightness of 1,553 nits for the iPhone versus 1,363 for the Samsung. That extra brightness really helps when you're outside on a sunny day.
That makes sense.
The S24 Ultra, though, has a better anti-glare coating.
So trade-offs. So brighter screen on the iPhone might be better for those really sunny days.
Right.
But the S24 Ultra could be better if there's a lot of glare. All right, let's talk about cameras now.
Okay.
That's what everyone's obsessed with these days.
Of course.
The S24 Ultra has a huge 200 MP main camera. But does that really mean it takes better pictures than the iPhone 16 Pro Max with its 48 MP camera system?
Yeah.
I mean, how much better can a photo really be with all those megapixels?
You're right to be skeptical. It's not just about the megapixels.
Right.
Both of these phones have really, really impressive cameras.
Okay.
The iPhone 16 Pro Max has 3 cameras, a 48 MP main lens, a 48 MP ultra-wide lens, and a 12 MP 5x telephoto lens. The Galaxy S24 Ultra goes even further and has 4 cameras.
Oh, wow.
A 200 MP main lens, a 12 MP ultra-wide lens, a 10 MP 3x telephoto lens, and a 50 MP 5x telephoto lens.
Wow, 4 lenses. That's a lot to unpack.
It is.
So which phone takes the best pictures?
You know, it's really close, but based on what we've seen from reviewers and all the comparisons out there, the iPhone 16 Pro Max might be a little bit better, especially when it comes to low-light photography.
Interesting.
The pictures just come out sharper, and the colors look more accurate even when it's dark. And this year, Apple's added some really interesting new features.
Oh.
You'll love the new camera control button.
Okay.
It can sense how hard you're pressing it, and you can even swipe on it, which gives you way more control over your shots.
A pressure-sensitive button.
So
But you don't have to, like, tap the screen.
Exactly.
What's that like? And what about the Galaxy's camera?
Okay, so imagine like a tiny touchpad right on the side of your phone.
Okay.
Press lightly to half press. Press firmly to take the picture. You can even swipe to change things like the exposure or the zoom. It's really intuitive, and you have so much more control. Now, the S24 Ultra's camera app is definitely more for, people who really know their stuff about photography.
Yeah.
You can manually tweak all the settings, and you can even use the S Pen as a remote shutter. Plus, reviewers are raving about the iPhone's video recording, especially the new 4K 120 fps slow motion and the audio mix feature.
4K slow motion at 120 frames per second.
Yep.
That's got to look amazing.
Right.
What's this audio mix feature?
Oh, it's amazing. You can get some incredible footage with that slow motion. The audio mix feature uses AI to analyze the sound you're recording, and it tries to get rid of background noise so, whoever's talking comes through perfectly clear.
Wow, okay. So both have great cameras.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the iPhone might have a slight edge with those new features and its performance in low light. Now let's talk about what makes these phones tick. The processors. What can you tell me about the iPhone 16 Pro Max's A18 Pro chip?
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype around it. Is it really that much faster?
Oh, it is. It's a beast. Apple built it on a 3nm process, so the transistors are super tiny,
Okay.
which means they can cram a ton of processing power into a small space. And what you get is crazy fast speeds, and it's better on battery life, too. In benchmark tests like Geekbench 6, it scored 3,400 for single core and 8,341 for multi-core.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So for like everyday use,
Yeah.
what does all that power really mean, for someone like me?
You'll notice it when you're jumping between apps, playing games that need a lot of power editing videos. Anything that really pushes the phone to its limits. Everything just feels so much faster and smoother on the iPhone. The Galaxy S24 Ultra with its Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip is no slouch, though.
Right.
It's actually better for some things like really graphics-heavy tasks.
Okay.
But when it comes to just how smooth and fast it feels overall, the iPhone wins.
Got it. So speed and responsiveness are your thing. The iPhone might be the way to go. What about battery life, though?
Yeah.
I've always heard that iPhones have smaller batteries than Android phones.
Right.
Is that still true with the 16 Pro Max?
Apple really stepped up their battery game this year.
Yeah, okay.
The iPhone 16 Pro Max has a 4,685 mAh battery, and in our tests, it lasted a crazy long time.
How long?
18 hours and 6 minutes. Wow.
That's even longer than the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which got 15 hours and 41 minutes, and that one has a 5,000 milliamp battery.
That's a big difference. What's making the iPhone's battery last so long? Is it just the bigger battery, or is there something else?
Well, the bigger battery definitely helps, but the real MVP here is the A18 Pro chip.
Right.
It sips power thanks to that 3nm process we talked about, and Apple's made the software work better with the battery, too.
Nice.
So you get amazing power and amazing battery life in one package. Now, the Galaxy S24 Ultra does win when it comes to charging speed, though.
Okay, how so?
It can charge with 45W wired charging, so you can get a full charge in like an hour.
That's pretty fast. What about the iPhone 16 Pro Max?
The iPhone 16 Pro Max is still using 20W wired charging, so it's much slower. But wireless charging on the iPhone is actually really fast this year.
Oh.
With 25W MagSafe charging, you can power it up wirelessly pretty quickly.
So it's a trade-off.
Yeah, faster wired charging on the Galaxy, but faster wireless on the iPhone. Okay, let's move on to software and AI. I'm really curious about Apple's new Apple Intelligence stuff.
Okay.
What is it?
Yeah.
And how does it compare to what Samsung's doing with the Galaxy AI?
This is where things get interesting. Apple's being very careful with their AI. They're adding features slowly through updates to iOS.
Oh, okay.
They seem to be focusing on privacy and making sure it all works really well together. The first Apple Intelligence features are mostly about text, like summarizing notifications and emails, rewriting things, and making the search in the Photos app smarter.
So they're starting small and focusing on specific things.
Yeah.
What about the Galaxy S24 Ultra?
The Galaxy S24 Ultra comes with a bunch of AI tools right out of the box.
Oh, wow.
It can summarize your notes, websites, even recordings. It can translate languages live. It can make images and even write messages for you.
Wow, that's a lot. It sounds like Samsung's going all in with AI,
Right.
while Apple's taking it slower. So which is better?
Well, that's the big question. It depends on what's important to you. Some people like that Apple's being careful, making sure everything works well and isn't annoying.
Sure.
Others might want all the AI features right away, like Samsung's doing. We'll have to wait and see which way works out better.
Yeah, it sounds like there are pros and cons to both. What about the software overall? iOS versus One UI. What are the big differences there?
iOS 18, which is what the iPhone 16 Pro Max uses, has gotten a lot more customizable than it used to be.
Okay.
But it's still not as flexible as Samsung's One UI. With One UI, you can really make your phone look exactly how you want it. You can change the themes and tweak pretty much everything. If you like messing around with settings and making your phone your own, One UI might be better for you. And there's one more thing to think about: software updates.
Oh, right. Samsung's really stepping up their game with updates. What's the latest?
Samsung is now giving you 7 years of software updates for the S24 Ultra. That means you'll keep getting the newest Android features and security updates for a really long time. It's amazing support.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often with Android phones.
Yeah.
Apple usually offers 5 years of support for iPhones.
Right.
Which is still great, but Samsung's setting a new standard.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
If you keep your phones for a while, those extra years of updates are a big deal. All right, we've talked about a lot: design display cameras, performance battery life software, even AI.
Yeah.
Both the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Galaxy S24 Ultra are clearly amazing phones.
For sure.
But if you had to choose, which one wins this battle?
You know, it's really a tough choice, but I think it comes down to what matters most to you in a phone. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is just amazing when it comes to performance, how bright the screen is, all those camera features, like that new camera control button and the 4K 120 slow motion and that battery life.
Right. It's incredible. So if you want the best all-around phone,
Yeah.
the iPhone 16 Pro Max might be the one to get, but the Galaxy S24 Ultra is still really good too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What makes it stand out?
Well, the design, for one, with that titanium frame, it feels really high-end, and its camera system gives you so many options and control. And then there's the S Pen and how much you can customize things with One UI. Plus, you can't forget about those 7 years of software updates that Samsung's offering.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is.
So if you're trying to decide between these two phones, what are some things you should ask yourself?
First, think about how you use your phone every day. Are you a big gamer? Do you spend a lot of time outside in the sun?
Yeah.
Do you use your phone for work or for creative stuff?
Right.
Your answers will help you figure out which features are most important. Then think about, all your other devices.
Yeah.
Are you all Apple? Then the iPhone will probably work better for you.
Yeah.
But if you like Android and have other Galaxy stuff, the S24 Ultra might make more sense. And of course, there's the price.
Right. You got to think about your budget.
Exactly.
And like we talked about before, those software updates are a big deal.
Yeah. If you keep your phones for a long time, those extra years of support from Samsung are really nice. Okay, so before we finish up, I want to go back to AI for a minute.
Yeah.
It seems like Apple and Samsung are both going big on AI, but they're doing it in different ways.
Right. Very different approaches.
Yeah.
What do you think about the future of AI on phones?
It's exciting and kind of hard to predict.
Yeah.
Apple's being careful, making sure their AI is private and doesn't feel overwhelming. Samsung's going all out, putting all kinds of AI features on their phones and giving users a lot of control. I think the next few years will be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see which way people like better.
Exactly. It's like slow and steady versus going full speed ahead.
It is.
It'll be interesting to see who wins.
So there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Two incredible phones that are fighting for the top spot in the smartphone world. Right. We've looked at the specs, the features, the good, the bad. Hopefully this has given you a better idea of what each phone is all about. Remember, the best phone for you is the one that fits your needs and what you like.
Right.
So take your time, do your research, and choose the phone that works for you. And hey, if you're still not sure,
Yeah.
maybe wait a little bit.
Right.
The Galaxy S25 Ultra is coming out soon, and who knows what that one will be like.